Drummers Against Implied Timekeeping, Richard D'Albus. I want to shoot just a very quick spontaneous video based upon some music that I've been listening to. And I'm in my kitchen and I kind of like this shot with the cabbage and lettuce behind my head. It's kind of an interesting shot. But anyway, I want those of you who visit my channel to go through my catalog always, because it's enormous. And I want younger drummers to listen to the 5 tracks that have been lost to time a little bit. All right? These are 5 more tracks for every drummer to know, because I shot 10 tracks every drummer should know, the 5 greatest avant-garde drummers, the 5 greatest pop drummers, the 5 greatest punk drummers, the oral history of heavy metal. I mean, there's just a lot in there. Please go take a look if you haven't seen it. But these are 5 tracks of drummers that are not heralded. And I just have this thing that I want those drummers who are not known to kind of get their due in some sort of way. And this is my way of telling younger players, go look at these tracks. If you're a drummer, go take a listen. And the first is from 1973, Lady Marmalade, or Lady Marmalade by Patti LaBelle. Now, I'm not going to argue about the year. I base it upon 1973. I was 16 years old and I was taking a train ride from New York City to Washington, D.C. alone. My first maybe alone adventure to see somebody in Washington, D.C., a friend of mine. And this song was huge in 1973. And the track was, even for its time, I had already been playing drums for 5-6 years and taking lessons pretty consistently. So I had a pretty strong awareness of what drums were and parts and various things. But this particular track was just a psychotic, weird thing. Besides its unusual structure, take a listen to the way he comes down on the bass drum in ways that I have never heard before or since. And the drummer on the track was a guy I looked up, Herman Ernest from New Orleans, because the Toussaints and various other New Orleans players were all involved with Patti LaBelle in the early years. And this track, please listen to it, Lady Marmalade or Marmalade, because the drum track is just extraordinary and fantastic. It's really cool. It's very up in the mix. And when I saw it live on television, he had a drum set that was like a spaceship. They were like saucers coming off one tree. A very unusual drum set. I don't remember who made it. It was only there for about a year. But ironically, when I got to Washington, D.C., I saw it at a music store. This weird drum set that was used by the drummer, again, Herman Ernest. Really strange, a spaceship-looking drum set, even for its era in 1973. Know the track. If you're a younger drummer, know what it is, all right? Know that track. It is wicked. It is bold. It is ballsy. It's unusual. It's creative, and it's a hats off, no question. The second one I want you to listen to, I was fortunate enough to get the album early on. It was Eumir Deodato. Deodato 2 was the album, Super Strut. That's the song. It's just a long instrumental groove. 1972. Eumir Deodato was from Brazil. He had just a great way of interpreting old standards and making them into his own. But this track is just considered a groove killer. And Rick Marotta's on the track. And everyone knew Rick Marotta in the 70s. I know Bernard Purdy was famous, and Keltner, and these various Gadd and various other people, but everyone knew Rick Marotta as well. And I think Rick Marotta is as good as any of those guys. And he's on this track, and he just lays it out. If you're a drummer, it's 9 minutes of just a total killer groove. And Deodato still goes around the country, in North America, South America, doing his thing. But this is his signature song, all right? Know this track. And hats off to Rick Marotta, okay? The third I came up with is Easy by the Commodores. 1977, the Commodores had a string of hits. And they were great, you know, for their era. I mean, they were radio friendly, they were cool. And the drummer in the Commodores was a good groover. He really was, and Easy is a great example of it. Excuse me. Take a listen to that track, Easy. It's just really done well. He does a dotted 16th in the chorus there, or the pre-chorus. That was just nice, and I want to give a hats off because I don't know who he is. But the drummer in the Commodores, the track is Easy. The fourth, my God, this is an obscure one. You have to really know it from way back. 1972, Run by JoJo Gunn. The drummer on it is a guy named Curly Smith. It was their only hit, Run by JoJo Gunn. It rhymes. But he lays down the track perfectly. You know, when I heard it, I was 14 years old, something like that. Maybe it's 71, not 72, 1971. And I could tell it was just, it pumped. And years later, I've seen it on YouTube, like, 2017, and Curly's still laying it out really tight. So hats off to that guy, Curly Smith of JoJo Gunn, the song Run, or Run, Run, Run. Same title, all right? And then I thought of, Pete Thomas of the Elvis Costello's band. He's been the drummer from the beginning, and he has so many tracks. I love this guy, Pete Thomas, because he was quietly aggressive. And 5 Gears in Reverse sticks out to me. And Peace, Love, and Understanding stick out to me. And structurally, they're the same type of song with the same tempo. Please know Pete Thomas of Elvis Costello. Most drummers know and respect him. They go way back. And I'm another one of those guys. He's tremendous, all right? And the fifth, and this is a curveball, but I just got to tell you about it. Everyone loves, Yes, the progressive band from the 70s. And Bill Bruford was the drummer in Yes for their, early albums, the first 3 albums before he left and went to King Crimson. Now, I was fortunate enough to meet him in the maybe mid-'80s, and he was at my university long after I had graduated. Sorry, mid-'90s. And it wasn't a big clinic. It wasn't. He was invited, I think, by the president of my university because he knew him. That's what I think happened. But he set up his drums and he chatted a bit, and he talked about his years with Yes and King Crimson. But what I found interesting and what always used to startle me was the song by Yes called Long Distance Runaround. What the heck was going on in that song? We didn't know. Well, he answered it at this clinic in the mid-'90s. The band's playing the song in 4/4. He's playing it in 5. So if you're listening to it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. He'd hit on 5 until it came around the cycle, and he'd hit 1. So there's 20 beats before they connected up on 1. And someone asked, why did you do that? And he said at the time he just felt like it. And I would bring that out because he was 19 years old when he recorded that. So Long Distance Runaround by Yes. Listen to the song. Notice where he's hitting the snare drum on the 5th note, every 5th note, while the song is in 4. Any drummer would just love listening to that. And nowadays you're getting so many things from, Adam Neely and various other great musicians, juxtapositioning different time signatures over other things. But, back then in 1971 or 72, it was very unusual to do that rhythmic sort of thing. Very few bands would do that. And it just sticks out to me because I had to listen to it. And that's why I'm doing this video with Cabbage behind my head. But these are the things that I want young drummers to understand. It isn't as if the world came online in YouTube and there were hundreds of thousands of things going on. There were, as you can tell. And I'm noticing the early 70s had lots of interesting things going on with lots of drummers. It just seemed to be a golden era when I look back on it. Kind of like after the war with jazz players and bop players from 1948 to 1953. There was a ton of guys doing great, innovative ideas, and in the 70s as well. So just listen to those 5, all right? That's what I think would be best. Lady Marmalade, no question. Herman Ernest, Super Strut, Ymir Diodato. Easy by the Commodores, Run by Jojo Gunn. 5 Gears in Reverse and Peace, Love, and Understanding. They're both the same stylistic song by Elvis Costello, and Long Distance Runaround. These are tracks I just inspire me and should inspire you and whoever else you're hanging with. Let me know what you think. Welcome everyone who's visiting my channel. Again, go into my catalog and look at the things that I'm teaching in the open-handed position to enhance your creativity as a drummer, which is what I want to instill in all of you. And please subscribe, because if you haven't done that, it is the inspiration for me to just continue to talk to you, and hopefully you'll see. I've been doing the drum thing for 52 continuous years, and 47 continuous years playing out. I just never stopped, and I want to instill that kind of enthusiasm that I've always had for it with those of you who are looking in. If you have any questions, let me know, always, all right? I have my PayPal account, I'll leave in the box below, and thanks for indulging me to inspire you, all right? So let me know what you're doing. If you have any real particulars about anything to do with drums, drum history, drumming, I welcome them, all right? My best to all of you, and thanks for dealing with the cabbage behind me, all right?